Path of Night, War of Ages is an actual play of Vampire the Masquerade Dark Ages podcast set in the world of darkness. We're all friends, we're here to have fun, but our story can include graphic violence, drug use, sexual content, and other mature themes. We've talked at our table about safety, comfort, and consent both as players and storytellers. We know what to expect, we're all excited to be here, and we want you to feel the same, so listener discretion is advised. And so continues the War of Ages.
Child of mine, you are commanded to meet me at the market square beside the stocks within the castle district of Budapest on the 15th night of April, at the 10th hour past sundown in the year of our Lord 1198. There you shall be introduced to an ally, one of noble bearing who has pledged support and expressed a desire to serve as your patron in the lands of Transylvania. A Dmitri that has long acted as a mutual opponent of Ventrue incursion. The region festers under the shadow of the Eastern Lords and their growing power. The Ventrue come with crosses in hand and chains behind their backs, preaching the promise of salvation to the poor and delivering only subjugation. They speak of civilization and piety, yet see the people as beasts to be tamed and yoked. Make no mistake, they do not come to uplift, but to rule absolutely and without pity. I will not see another land crushed beneath their rule. You are to ride forth and stir what resistance remains, awaken in others what was awakened in you. But be cunning. The Eastern Lords did not rise by might alone. Their spies are many, and the courts are rife with ambitious cowards who have already bent knee in secret to them. As for the Dmitri, they might have once had the chance to stand for something greater, but they have chosen on lives driven by cruelty and horror. Use them if you must, but do not depend upon them. They rot in their thrones of flesh and bone, and will not be bothered to stand against the Ventrue storm. This is your task. Sir Lawrence, Knight of the Furores.
Last time on War of Ages. The group traveled through the city of Budapest towards the market square. They were approached by a madman who spoke over their roles in the coming nights. A vassal of Prince Radu of Bistri, Tiberio, met with the group along with Catrinel and Zorion's sires. Tiberio told them that they are expected to pay their sire's debts and help Prince Radu capture and fortify Tehuta Pass. Tiberio will excuse himself and leave 3 young women for you to devour.
Catrinel does not demonstrate an immediate interest in the gifts and indicates this to the group with a dip of the head.
With no sire in the room and no one to sort of speak to on matters of urgency, Roland actually strides across the room towards the gifts, extends a hand out to the women to see who takes his hand first.
Wide-eyed and unblinking, one of them, as if being moved by a power outside themselves, gently places a hand in yours.
He takes her hand very gently, walks across the room. There's like benches, chairs, places to sit.
Yes, there are seats.
Brings, and as he's walking, takes Sadhbh by the hand.
She does not extend a hand.
Takes it anyways.
She fights back.
You need to eat.
I do not.
Yes, you do.
There is nothing I will gain from this.
I know how it works. We're going to have a conversation. No? Quiet, simple in a corner, and then you will sustain yourself after
Go
long...
across yourself. I'm not doing it.
He gives her an intense, I will make you take care of yourself if I have to beat it out of you look that immediately fades like, I have learned how to make Cainites take care of themselves. And I am choosing not to engage in that lesson right now.
Then do it, you coward.
You have to feed.
I'm not
and then
hungry.
Drops her hand, not willing to fight it in front of people they just met.
Who are very curious about this interaction.
And then takes the woman off to the side and will gently feed.
Sadhbh leaves the room. She will go to the door and hobble up the stairs and go wait with the wagon.
The man that is seated raises a hand as you go to turn. If you would please, a conversation first.
She will turn and sit.
You are in a place where there are many enemies. And I know the man Tiberio who has just left this room. He has not wandered far. And he has left these mortals to test you, to learn about you. And already much has been said. So before there are any further betrayals to one another, why don't we have some conversation?
Zorion steps over to where his sire is speaking with Sadhbh, and he kind of extends a shadowy hand out towards the reclining La Sombra. Sadhbh, this is my sire, Appius Claudius Corvus.
Sadhbh just kind of looks him up and down, gives a nod.
Catrinel comes over to join the conversation, but as she does, she moves and stands much like her sire does.
Tiberio shared useful information, but the information he shares is meant to be to the advantage of his master, Prince Radu. I must travel west very soon. He kind of gives Zorion like a knowing look. But before I go, I would like to do what I can to prepare you for the nights ahead. There are many spies belonging to the Eastern Lords that occupy this region. And they will work hard to gather any information that would help them curry favor with the agents of Sioris.
Zorion's face twists up a little bit at that.
Any secret, any vulnerability that can be exposed, they will sell to Sioris for favor, no matter how minor. The group of you must consider this weakness you have and uncover its strength.
What's weak about not wanting to feed off of someone who isn't willing?
If I may, the weakness is the emotion you express when it is brought up. If you control that, it could be strength. But if it causes you to storm out of a room when your allies try to tend to you, that is weakness.
Roland says nothing while the others are talking, but is clearly listening and looking at her like this is a conversation they have been having back and forth for years about passion versus impulse.
I do not mean to seem as though I am focused only on you as I speak, but there will be many iterations of what has happened just now among everyone. It is not just human nature, it is the nature of Cainites. You are presented with an opportunity to tend to at least one man you care for. You will scream, you will thrash for the sake of what is right. But for the sake of what you care for, can you keep a secret?
Sadhbh looks deeply uncomfortable by this because, by the nature of the path she follows, keeping secrets and tending to those who are ill and sick and not in their right mind are very close to one another. And to violate either one is a sin.
The man who tends to you, he is strong. I can see that in him. But the Tremere will kill him for what he does. Should they ever find out, will you let them? His own life is as much in your hands as you are in his.
Roland looks listening in from across the room, deeply offended at the idea that a fucking Tremere could kill him.
Catrinel is intrigued. There's clearly mention of a factor she does not know, but that's unsurprising. There's a mystique around Zorion's sire, and she's not going to interrupt this. She's actually also curious about Sadhbh's response to it.
Sadhbh doesn't say anything. She's just angry crying.
Oh, are there literal tears?
Yes. Blood tears, but
3 trails of them unless you make the roll.
she will make the roll.
Roll it.
I am spending a willpower on this.
Yeah.
3 successes.
He looks at you and very clearly seems to take your silence as assent. And he stands up and he says, "There is much preparing for you to do, child. I shall find you before dawn comes."
Zorion nods.
And he steps out of the room and walks right by. He doesn't laugh at you. He doesn't pity you. He just leaves.
Sadhbh glares at him with impotent rage. Because at the end of the day, he's probably right. And it also doesn't matter who's right. There is nothing she can do about it.
Whence Corvus is gone, is it just Valeska who's in the room with us?
Yes. And she is kind of just soaking in the anger and the conflict and sort of like a... You know how like a praying mantis might just stare at insects interacting with one another for a long period of time, totally still, until they decide it's time to eat one, and then there's a sudden rush of motion and violence and destruction, and then they go right back to remaining perfectly still and blending in with their environment. It is very much akin to that, where Corvus held no pity for the young woman and what she is going through, or at least showed no pity. She has these instincts that are being triggered by these overt signs of weakness, And it is very much something akin to something you have actually seen Cainites who are on instinct-oriented roads and paths do, where they sort of go on walkabout, and that's what they call it. And on walkabout, the beast semi-rises to the surface, and they take on very subtle predatory behaviors and just allow that to sort of simmer and tire out the beast ever so slightly. And that seems to be what is happening right now. This elder monster is just quietly soaking in this moment.
Alexios was looking from one sire to another and moving himself away from the scary insect lady and just kind of seeing if there's more words to be imparted.
Child,
Yes.
what is your assessment of the Cainites you travel with?
We have only just met. But in each one I see strong will, purpose, intention. They seem to know themselves well, and to operate from strength in that.
What is their value in terms of conspiracy?
What do you mean?
The Eastern Lords have garnered increased power amongst the Council of Ashes. And, if unchallenged, they will continue to do so. Prince Radu sees opportunity in this, as the one figure that all of the princes can agree to confide in. He receives a great deal of power by being the figure that keeps the peace. However, Lucretia is an invader who has taken territory that does not belong to the Ventru. It is my intention to see you moved to Tehuta Pass, to develop the fortress, to muster what forces you can over time, and drive Jurgen's pawn from the region. You are not simply to aid the Cainites here in accomplishing their mission. You are to take my broodmate's place and recover what has been taken from the Basarabs.
There's conflict in Catrinel's eyes at the mention of taking back anything for the Basarab. It's a heavy burden, and she recognizes the importance of it. And as well, she isn't demonstrating much of what that conflict is sourced in, whether that is just the weight of what's been said and keeping it heavily in mind moving forwards, or whether it's her own past.
To inspire you, I have brought a gift.
A gift. Thank you.
The story is that it holds origins, having been brought to this region by traders from Baghdad. It is a poem allegedly written by the devil himself. 147 verses divided into 5 major sections, the first of which is called The Springtime of the World. All of it translated into Greek. It is called the Emeris Pyros. The copy I have brought for you was held by the Tremere for a time, apparently pertaining to some knowledge shared to them by a Cainite by the name of Elijah. The Tremere seem to believe that the poem is somehow relevant to both Cainite history and the demon Kupala. Study it. Decipher what you can from its strange metaphor regarding the origins of the cosmos.
I will do so, sire. I thank you for the gift. I do find it motivating. And as for your question before, I do not believe that those around me would tolerate the Eastern Lord's overreach. Not by our travels together and not what I've seen from their reactions. You ask their value in conspiracy. I see it as high.
Then see to it that once Tehuta Pass is properly protected, fortress erected, you are ready for war.
I understand.
Good. She offers no goodbye, and instead simply leaves. And as she shuts the door behind her, it is just the group of you alone together.
Catrinel doesn't seem to expect a goodbye. There's an understanding there, one that leads Catrinel to almost mirror her sire, so much so that she doesn't turn back to the group until her sire is fully out of the room.
Roland rises from the bench nearby, takes a small cloth from inside his clothes and gently dabs off his lips and then puts it back inside, and then sort of helps the girl to sort of a more comfortable seated position. He only seems to have taken a little bit of blood, despite his maybe obvious road hunger, and then stands looking around at everyone left in the room.
Catrinel tilts her head towards the two remaining women, scanning the group. Is anyone in particular need?
One of them speaks up. Whatever you desire. They are very conditioned.
I appreciate the gifts that our host Tiberiu has left us. I'm not entirely sure that I want them yet. He smiles pleasantly.
Well, I'm not one to deny something that might help us further along.
Feast, by all means.
Just a little bit. Catrinel walks over. One of the untouched of the two. And your feeding style had been very gentlemanly. Very
Yes.
chivalrous. Hers is intense. She walks over, she makes eye contact, she extends a hand out almost like you did, but there's more expectancy. It's less like, I'd like to help you up and I'm sorry that you are in this position. It's more like, you will follow me, won't you? Catrinel leads her over to one of the chairs and puts the woman in her own lap. She has the woman straddle her and brushes her hair out of the way. And she only takes a little bit. But she luxuriates in the experience of feeding.
I don't particularly like having an audience myself. By the way, any of you have places to stay? I thought your sires might be offering them, but it seems unlikely.
I had admittedly expected to see my sire here, and was hoping he would have some place to stay, yes. Do you have some sort of solution before the daylight hits?
I do. I would just need to check with them.
Catrinel looks up, lips reddened even further by the blood. And what does your solution offer?
Protection from the sunlight during the day?
I presume she means, do you have contacts here in this city,
Yes.
friend Alexios?
Hey, I was made aware of it before. Well, I talked to some people before I came up this way, and through a series of people I know, I knew that I would have a place to stay, and it is big enough to hold multiples. So,
Well, if you have a shelter from the daylight, I give you my sincere thanks for offering your temporary home to us.
Lex, was this offer already made to multiple people, or should I go check in on that beforehand?
I will tell you.
Okay.
So, your contact
Yep.
actually controls an inn by the name of the Bell and Rose. At the Bell and Rose, there's plenty of space for people to haven there. You're actually aware that it actually serves as a hidden temple. So there's plenty of space that is specifically prepared to accommodate traveling Cainites.
Yes. It should be fine if we all go there. As long as there isn't a big need for it, there'll be plenty of room for all of us there. So it shouldn't be a problem. And it is part of a regular inn, so your men can stay. Those that may want to stay inside, though I know you have a bunch of wagons, so, sleeping outside's pretty nice, too.
That would be most excellent. I would prefer to have a place to stay.
Very good. So I guess once everyone's done here, we can go out to do that, because I don't really want to stay here.
I presume, given the hour, that we are not expected to meet with Prince Ricard this evening.
No, we will put out connections to see if we can request an audience to thank him for his generous hospitality in his city.
Tiberio said he knew we were here.
Catrinel drags her tongue across the wound that she'd made, sealing it back up, but not without that last lingering enjoyment of the taste. And she does indicate to the human to get up. Guides her back to where she was seated.
They obey and will sit. While this room has been left for you guys to use, it's not really ideal and is really uncomfortable at this point for, some of you. So, Tim Alexios is going to be leading the group to the Bell and Rose.
That is correct.
Alexios, you lead your companions in the procession that follows it through the streets of Budapest until you reach the inn that you had been directed to. It has been some time since you have seen this place, and as you approach it, the first thing that you're greeted by is a simple sign. There are no words upon it, simply two symbols. A bell, and a rose. Already, you can feel the warmth of its hearth and hear soft music that is playing. You know that this is a place of peace and healing and mercy. How you wish to address the expectations of how decorum should be considered when visiting this place is between you and your guests, but you know that this is a place where people are expected to be kind to one another.
Just a quick note before we go in here. There is certain expectations at this place. It is welcoming to most travelers, but there is an expectation of kindness and being good to others.
What, is it some sort of rule, or?
It is an expectation. You can violate it at your own peril.
Roland nods and looks appreciative. If this is the expectation of hospitality for the host of this place, then that will be abided.
I think you will find the atmosphere is much to promote such things.
Saeed looks genuinely surprised that is not the expectation everywhere, and that needs to be stated, and then looks a little disappointed at the realization that she's having about it.
They are indeed friendly to Cainites, though.
Yes, they are prepared for our kind.
Marvelous. Let us
Please come.
enjoy their hospitality.
It's a merry place.
Zorion takes a moment to direct his men to put up the wagons and stable the horses, post a couple of guards, and to take shifts within the inn to rest and recuperate themselves. He also has one of them retrieve his Moorish guitar so that he may relax within the inn with a little bit of music.
Saeed's eyes lock on the guitar with a focus that is not seen pretty much any other time.
Once he notices this, he just kind of casually passes her the guitar. It's beautiful, is it not?
It's absolutely sensational. And she will hold it and try to put her fingers on it, and she will strum it, and she will adjust her fingers and find chords. she has a good ear for music. She will hum a note and find it on the guitar.
As you strum the guitar and kind of put yourself a bit at ease after kind of a stressful conversation, you walk through the doorway of this inn. And your beast falls silent. For the first time since the night of your embrace. Around the entrance, there are all these little baubles and objects, and as the group of you file in, you experience the same thing. Your beast falls silent. Not frightened into submission, not suppressed by any palpable force, it just gets quiet.
Lex, Zorion does have an eerie presence. Is that still felt within the inn?
Yes, any mortals directly speaking with you will suffer the consequences of your eerie presence.
Okay.
Catrinel seems disquieted by that sensation. She is investigative towards that feeling, but it's not like you can look around for a feeling.
When you look around, you see there is a woman that is very quickly moving from where there are people sitting and eating and laughing and enjoying. You can smell it already. It's this stew and hot bread. This place does not feel like the cold, damp, horrible streets of Budapest that you've been walking. This woman has beautiful, rich, dark skin, black hair, full lips. She does not look like the people of Budapest. And this woman approaches Alexios and says something odd. Different, but handsome all the same.
It's good to see you too, Nofrin. It does wonders for my eyes.
It does. Are these your friends?
These are my current traveling companions, and maybe soon to be friends.
I'm happy to hear that you are making friends. I am Nofrin. I'm the proprietor of this inn, and I would like to welcome you to the Bell and Rose.
Enchanted, Senora. I am Zorion. He flourishes a bow, and if her hand is out, he will snatch it up and plant a gentle kiss on the back of her hand.
With the other hand, she'll stifle a, blushed giggle, and when you touch her skin, you realize that it is cool, like a Cainite skin. It's cool. But when she laughs, she blushes.
I'm Saeed. Do I ever have to leave?
A longer conversation, and perhaps not meant for the entrance, but I'm happy to have that conversation.
All right, am I allowed to play music?
We love music. Please come in.
Catrinel of the Basra. And I must ask, are you the source of this strange feeling?
This place is protected, but it is not protected in the ways that walls protect. We do not seek to isolate ourselves here. Everyone is quite welcome, and our protections are not meant to serve as simple shields, but as salves.
Roland has been standing stock still since the second he crossed the threshold. He is a Bruja, but in the absence of his beast rattling the cages of his heart and the smells of stew and bread and the sound of music and livelihood, he has not moved like a statue and is completely somewhere else in his mind. And it's only after everyone else has made introductions and a beautiful woman has come forward to introduce and welcome everyone in that It's like he pulls himself back from somewhere very far away and steps forward and shakes his head a little bit and way too late goes, I am Roland de Roncevaux. Thank you for having us here in your establishment. He still looks shell-shocked, like he looks completely punch-drunk.
Alexios has a kind of a smile, seeing everybody's reaction to this, knowing that some of this would happen. Your inn is always a balm to my soul, but your presence more so. Shall we get these people settled and go from there?
Yes, I will direct you to rooms. If you need a change of clothes or anything, we would be very happy to provide for you. And Nofrit will lead each of you downstairs. Here, there is space that has been carved out underground. It is very well cared for. There are beautiful rugs that come from very far away. The area is furnished, and in it there are basically these small cubed spaces that are only like 8 feet by 8 feet, very small, but perfect for a Cainite who is resting for the day. She directs each of you to one of your own, and for anyone who needs it for their leisure, there are simple clothes and sandals that can be worn. She doesn't really presume that the nobles are really, up for it, but anyone who does, it is available to them.
As they walk down the stairs, Saif will hand the guitar back to Zorion so that she can use both hands on her stick to go down the stairs. But she's also keeping eyes on Roland because he has a very different relationship with his beast than she has with hers, and she did note that he was more jarred by this and in a different direction. And she kind of keeps eyes on which cube he's assigned to, just as a matter of course. And once Nofrit has had them all settled, she will go over to his and kind of tap on the door.
Takes a second, and then it opens. Lex, are there buckets of water and lye or something provided to...
Yep, to clean yourself.
Clean yourself. Roland opens the door. He is stripped to the waist and is already been cleaning road dust and everything off of himself. An unusual habit maybe for the time, but something that you would know he picked up in the courts of love to be extra presentable, and some just sort of a routine behavior that when he can avail himself of it seems to bring him some sort of comfort. What is it?
You tell me.
Everything is fine. As you said, this place is quite comforting, no? He still looks a little shell-shocked, but trying to keep it together.
You go to hell for lying, they tell me.
So I've heard. And if I do, I shall fight the devil.
I don't doubt that. But you're not all right. And right now you're going to have to fight with me about it.
Haven't we done that enough for this evening?
I've never had enough of it.
Is this not the truth, no?
There's a lot of negatives in there.
I am well.
You're lying to the wrong person.
It has been a very long time since I could simply be alone with my thoughts. And no matter how many locks or bars one puts on one's heart, the minute that it is opened, everything returns. I will be fine.
Do you need a hug?
I don't think so.
I mean, I'd take it as a kindness if you put a shirt on first, but just so I don't get wet.
I think I should finish. If the others gather to speak, tell them I will join them shortly.
She'll squeeze his hand.
Do you trust them?
Trust you. That's pretty much it.
He smiles. Nor do I yet. But I think we could, no?
I don't... They didn't openly chastise me or take a whip to me when I didn't want to eat those girls.
If someone takes a whip to you, we will have an issue, but to be honest, sometimes you need to be openly chastised.
I mean, I have to a lot. Need is a strong word, but I deserve it an awful lot.
We'll make it work.
I know.
Your sire did not send you here, mine did. And I know we are bound, but thank you for coming.
Thank you for not leaving me on the side of the road somewhere. And I'm sorry you didn't leave me on the side of the road somewhere.
I'm going to finish washing up. I will see you all very shortly, no?
I also... If I want to tell these people that I'm a Toreador, I'm going to need you to figure out how to discreetly point out what's nice artwork so I can pretend to be enamored by it. Because honestly, most of it just seems pretentious.
That's the secret. It is. And that is what they love.
So I just pretend to be enamored when I'm really bored?
I always found it to be useful. You would surprise how many ladies of the court take a far-off look of absolute boredom with...
Anytime you talked? No, I'm familiar with that one.
He shuts the door.
For Alexios, there comes a knock at the door.
Alexios was just sitting on his bed, just kind of relaxing for a few minutes, looking around at the accommodations and checking out, so he gets up and immediately opens the door.
Alfred is waiting there and greets you with a warm smile and points. Alexios, yes?
Yes.
All right. I will need to bring you with me to meet Seneferka. They sleep now and wouldn't be able to greet you themselves.
Unfortunate, but necessary.
Please come this way.
Very good.
She leads you to one of the bedchamber areas, and slipping in, she sort of moves some furniture to reveal kind of like a very narrow, hidden passageway that leads somewhere else deep underground. As Seneferka explores the underworld, he has found troubling news and has left what I think is meant to be some sort of prophecy.
How troubling.
Well, I suppose you should just see it.
I don't know.
She leads you in. At the doorway is a pair of jackal-headed sentinels that stand perfectly still, statues, and waiting to spiritually defend this place should it ever come under attack. There are conopic jars, collections of these small figures, and down in a space recessed even deeper into the ground is what you immediately recognize to be the sarcophagus of Seneferka. Nofrit behaves as though she has entered a very, very spiritually potent sanctum. And you kind of get the impression that you should be doing the same.
I absolutely have since we passed the first statues.
Down, kind of scrawled onto papyrus, is what looks like incomplete writings. Taking a look, it looks like they actually kind of scrawled it in Arabic. It's a very quick and easy read as you look through it. It says that something has trespassed into these lands. A dark owl with thieving talons. A whisper in the dark. And it warns to beware of Elijah. Next to it, and you kind of quickly piece together that it was left for you, is a hand-carved figurine made from limestone. This little person holds a farming tool and a bag of seed that are held and its hands crossed over its chest in a funerary pose. You recognize this to be one of the Ushapti. A little protector for you, should you find yourself sent to the lands of the dead while in pursuit of your duties.
Did he say anything else before he went?
When he went into this state, he warned that the prophecies he was seeing were being somehow interfered with, that something was listening and would interject with these low whispers.
Did he think it was a problem?
I believe he does. The power of Apophis expresses itself in sometimes overt, aggressive, wild, and dangerous ways. But the power of Apophis is most dangerous when subtle. Seneferka is remarkably powerful and wise, and because of this, he can confidently resist the temptation of this strange whisper in the dark. But it would seem that the prophet Elijah is not so lucky.
Is this something we need to do now, or just to be aware of?
I think for now, we need to be aware of it, but focus on our responsibilities. I must continue here, living the unlife of a Toreador, and you must continue living this unlife that you have chosen, in pursuit of Roland, and wherever it is that he has been taking those slaves.
Yes, I mean to meet with a contact of mine sometime soon. Is there anything else about the city or the countryside I should know?
Yes, this is a place where powers converge. It is a nexus of spiritual energies, not just across Europe, but much, much broader. Because of this, powers are drawn to it. The political machinations and military prowess of the Eastern Lords is just one example of this. Individuals will be drawn to this place and they will come to conflict, and they will do so for centuries as they have done for centuries. We must be wary that Apophis and his agents do not take advantage of this, that they do not seize the land. Already, I can sense that there is something terrible that lurks here, and if Seneferka speaks the truth, it is no longer alone in its pursuit of dominance.
Then we shall seek it and remove it.
She smiles, and it is a very, very charming smile, and she says that, Alexios, is precisely why I was thrilled to hear the news that you would come this way.
It's good to know that I will have a familiar face, at least somewhat nearby.
She laughs.
I am being sent to Huta Pass.
Interesting. To my knowledge, there isn't very much there. Why?
We are to establish a presence there, to defend the pass, it seems.
I find that interesting. Ever since the burning of the Basarab fortress that was there, I can't think of a reason why so many Cainites would be sent to maintain it. Are you sure that's all that is all that is there?
That is all that we're being told right now. I am sure there are plots within plots when it comes to this, but it seems to be that we are to keep the gangrel from invading, at least through the pass, is one of the problems.
Interesting. I know that the Prince of Beastrice, Radu, I know that he has concern about the Assamites, the Banu Hakim, having dreams of Western conquest.
Yes, I do not know exactly what's going on yet, but I will keep you up to date with the information as I get it. I am with a very interesting crowd. A very mixed bunch from various places. It's interesting.
I suppose there's one way of putting it. I sensed a dark cloud that looms over one. Well, she picks up the Shtapu and presents it to you.
I take it with both hands, and then I touch my hand to the middle of my chest where there might be something there. I bow my head to Seneferka in his sarcophagus.
Come now. Let's let him rest.
And I will follow her out.
Alexios, after your meeting, you return to your room and finish preparing to meet with the other members of this group of Cainites that you will be traveling with. You get ready, and you begin making your way upstairs. There, you are greeted with the scent of freshly cooked food, a warm fire, and a dimly lit space where there are mortals who remain awake late at night, enjoying the atmosphere, and you watch as one at a time your companions arrive to this space in order to relax and brace themselves for what is to come.
The first thing you see when Catrinel enters is that she has donned a veil. It's sheer, flowy. It's not worn in the style that at this time would indicate, across a few different cultures and places, say marital status. It's worn more casually than that. Fine fabric as it is, likely to be there to obscure her transcendent beauty and the way that her fang's edges might show when she speaks. The fabric is gorgeous, and it moves as she moves. Beneath it, you can see that she's had the time to wash her face, wash her hands, take off the layers that you have to wear to seem like you're keeping the right temperature while you're traveling. She approaches this area that you've set up for the group, shooting you a little grin, one that shows off those teeth. She sits almost masculine in style, a bit more sprawling, the way that she sits down next to you.
Alexios would offer to pull the chair out for you, but...
Oh, no, if you offer,
Yeah.
she will absolutely accept your offer. She'll
Sure.
wait.
And he will help you sit down, and then he will take a seat himself, observing the others as they possibly move around the house and hopefully gather at the table.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
Roland has walked in front of and sort of obscuring Sadhbh as they step into the room from downstairs. His hair is like wet and slicked back. He clearly bathed himself while he was downstairs, but he's dressed in sort of a long tunic and hose and just very nicely adorned but simple. Sword and everything has been left, but there is a dagger at his belt, as is sort of very common. And he has that sort of relaxed air of, you may all look at me, combative confidence that invites everyone to look at him instead of Sadhbh as they enter the room. And is just kind of looking around and begins just marching up to make sure to get himself a drink that he is quite well practiced at nursing without drinking in these sort of common houses.
Sadhbh is not far behind Roland. Coming up the stairs is always a challenge, but she has it down to a rhythm at this point. She's left her heavy woolen cloak downstairs. Looks like she's taken the time to shake the dust out of the clothes that she has. She hasn't taken the time to wash her hair, but she has taken the time to at least run a comb through the parts of it that will take a comb. She's washed her face, she's washed her hands. And more than anything, she looks excited. Eager for the chance to perform for a room full of people. Because that's a safe way of letting people see her. And a safe way of letting the lie take a back seat for a minute. And just being who she is and not having to feel the anger and not having to pretend to be someone else for a few minutes. And so here in this place where she can't feel her beast, and she's been given leave to perform, this is about as happy as Roland's ever seen her.
He snatches up a drink for him and for her to sort of pretend, and then cocks ahead over towards Alexios and Catrinel at the table. Shall we join our new companions? If but for a moment, I am certain they will be glad to hear of you soon.
Yeah, alright, we could do that.
Relax, yes? This is the one place we can so far.
No, I'm relaxed. I I'm relaxed.
C'est bon. And he walks over and sits. He pulls one of the chairs out for Saïv that is in sort of the most protected position, and then positions himself in the chair closest to the door.
Saïv will ease herself into the chair and look to Catrinel and Alexios. This is quite the place you found, Alexios.
A friend of mine has been running it for a bit, and it's always nice to see her. She brings quite an air with her.
She certainly does.
Tends to be pretty favorable with many Cainites.
I can understand why, for a multitude of reasons. And he sort of waves a hand around at the bar.
It's a little bit more free, a little less driven than other places we could stay, but it is always a comfort.
It is unusually pleasantly quiet. He says, despite like the noise of the bar.
Alexios nods his head in agreement.
Roland kind of looks between Alexios and Catrinel. Have you seen our fifth traveling companion?
You actually hear a bit of laughter from the center of the room, where there's a large table with elaborate chairs. Seated in one of the large chairs, there's a group of people surrounding Zorion who are kind of laughing. They seem a bit uncomfortable, but apparently there are bottles of wine just being brought to that group, and they all are enjoying the generosity of the man that they're having a conversation with. You can see that the candles nearby just kind of flicker uncomfortably as well. But then you notice that there are bottles of wine being brought to other tables. And one of the waitstaff actually brings wine to the table in the corner where you guys are seated and set down glasses for everyone. Shortly after, bread is being brought out to all the tables. And food is being brought out to all the tables. And you quickly realize that Zorion is basically buying everyone food and drink. And he is setting out a feast in this inn for everyone present.
Catrinel is intrigued at the discomfort of the people around you. As she's taking an interest, tilting her head, what might she notice of that?
It's hard to tell, but after a little bit, Zorion stands up, guitar across his back. He graciously nods and says some parting words to the people he's with, and comes walking over to where everyone else has situated themselves, and you just feel a cold breeze as he comes near. The flames around the table of the candles start to flicker nervously as well. It just seems that an uneasy presence follows Zorion around. It's not him, it's just people within his aura feel ill at ease. You notice that he has swapped out for a burgundy caftan with a beautiful black embroidered pattern, leather belt and boots. His left hand, which is exposed, covered in jeweled rings. He has a jeweled necklace with heavy rectangular gold plates making up the connective links about his neck. Very much the picture of just a Iberian prince. He also has a leather glove tucked through his belt, which at first glance makes it almost seem like the shadow hand is still in a black glove itself, until you kind of focus on that and realize that that might be the source of this eerie feeling, is this raw bit of abyss masquerading as a hand. He grabs a seat, pulls it out, and kind of lounges himself in it with his guitar swung around to the front. And then he notices the wine on the table and kind of smiles, looks at the rest of you. Excuse me for one moment. He pours himself a glass of wine, gets up on the chair to stand, and raises a glass to the ceiling. Thank you, my friends, for indulging me. Cheers to all of your health. Salute. And he will belt back the whole glass of wine.
Roland will lift his in turn as part of the cheers, and then when or as part of the toast, and when sort of the cheers of the crowd die down after that toast, he will continue it with, "To your generosity," and sort of get them to go again and drink more.
I will spend some blood to be able to hold this down for the scene.
Oh, I'm faking it. But
So, you've chosen to match me. Catrinel is also wearing those same colors and had been at the beginning. A bit more red to her burgundy.
Well, good taste, it cannot be helped.
She smiles, and she pours a little bit of wine into her own cup. She just lifts it. She doesn't lift her veil to try to drink it or anything like that, but she gives it a sniff, and that same grin lingers like it's a familiar smell.
He kind of looks down with a sour expression on his face at the little bit of wine remaining in the tavern goblet that he had. It is my greatest regret that I can no longer enjoy the taste of wine.
myself as well. Roland has actually picked up the bottle and is looking at it.
He looks up and doesn't smirk when you guys kind of laugh at his joke. And you can see that he is not joking.
Catrinel seems very confident in her laughter, whether that's a flirtation or whether that's a provocation, whether that's just her, not particularly clear. The tastes of ash plagues you?
Not as much as... I just miss the grape.
This is an excellent vintage. I was going to ask, is this of your personal stock, or do we have the house to thank?
The house. I cannot taste anything about this vintage.
Nor can I, unfortunately. He looks at Alexios, but compliments to the housemaster.
I will pass it along.
But I have found it is very useful to make sure that you are generous in the company of strangers and lands that you do not know intimately.
Very much so.
I never tasted wine before I was embraced.
No?
Is that right? I did
No.
not know this of you.
It was always whiskey or beer. Wine was for the spirits.
Yes, you are from the islands.
And which spirits are those?
Which it was deeply personal.
Does it remain so?
Yes. I follow Numerigna mostly, but breed also. Spirits of my home. It's hard to tell if they're with me still, but I still speak with them.
Alexios nods at it. We all carry our own, spirits with us from our own places, it seems.
I certainly do.
How has everyone else's travel to here?
Roland looks between Saeed and Zorion. It was as uneventful as these things can be, or at least until we met with Zorion, and then things went well. I do not know actually how your travels came before we met you.
My travels before I had to cross this section of the Balkans to get here were pleasant. Across the ocean. Anytime I am allowed to sail in the Mediterranean, it is lovely. Coming through these mountains, it is not pleasant, but I have a good collection of retainers to help me carry my things.
It does seem to be a big boon to have a number of people to help you out, so I did wonder about the two of you.
We had some were, and yet we still do. Not so many, of course, as our generous friend here, but some were lost along the way. That was the nature of travel, no?
I also just don't have much. I travel light.
Wasn't sure if they had some sort of path for particular individuals to take to get here, to stay in caves and whatnot.
The roads are quite long, but I am lucky that Violentieux stays awake during the day when I find myself having to catch my rest.
He must make a fine guard,
More so than you would expect a horse to be, yes?
I suppose.
Once he stopped trying to eat my hair while I was sleeping.
That was your fault.
I don't see how that was my fault.
I imagine you should have less tasty hair.
You teased him at night.
How did I tease him? All I did was stand and talk to you.
Exactly. He's very particular, no?
I think the word might be obsessed.
Horses are like people. They get different personalities.
Others have found him fractious, but he has a wonderful temperament once you get to know him.
I think once you get to know him. Saiv's eyes keep going to Zorion's guitar, and artlessly, perhaps, she pipes up. So I see you brought your guitar.
I did indeed.
And
what is this instrument that you have?
Oh, it's my boron.
Say that one more time for me.
Boron.
Boron.
It's a drum. You tune it from the back. It's played with a tipper mostly, but I can play it with my hand if I want.
I see.
And she'll show him how she tucks it in by her hip and puts her hand against the back of the skin and can use the back of her knuckles to make a tune with it. She'll take the tipper out and show how she can set a rhythm with it. But she'll also turn and show how she can play it, as she did while she was riding the horse. More of a Middle Eastern style.
Once she starts banging out a little beat, he'll slowly kind of like accompany it with a little bit of strumming with the guitar. The fingers of his left hand effortlessly glide around the neck of his guitar. You can see he is a little bit frustrated by the concentration it takes to simply strum out just a simple pattern with his shadow hand. But he still puts out a lovely little tune with the guitar that just kind of helps give some background music to the scene in the tavern.
And Saif will find a rhythm, slightly easier, a little slower. And she'll kind of look at him and she'll hum a note as kind of an indication for the tune that he should set. There are portions that go very, very fast, and she manages to do in a single breath. Very practiced, like she's done this a million times, and obviously the group has never seen her shine like this, but for Roland, it's strange to see her without the pain. He's probably seen her play along the roads. It's hard to keep her from singing or playing her boron, but when she's actually performing, there is an unquashable joy that overcomes her, and he might actually see her for maybe the first time.
Things he's maybe seen glimpses of over the past couple years are
Yeah.
like thrust to the fore.
Glimmers are now just full-on bright lights.
While Saif is performing like this, and she starts to pick up into the faster parts of the song, Zorion leans into it, and you can see that there's a gleam in his eye of excitement as he sees you lead the song into faster parts. And his shadow hand seems like it's able to kind of keep up with you. He loses that frustration because somebody else leading the song seems like it allows for his hand to actually start to strum in a way that seems natural to him. And there's kind of a grin spreading across his face.
The audience kind of claps and sways and drinks, and as the alcohol starts to do what alcohol does, you begin to see young lads reach towards ladies and invite them to dance, and around the room couples sort of spring up and begin to enjoy each other's company in this atmosphere that is being provided by the two Cainites. And they swing, they dance, varying degrees of expertise, but there is a positive, jovial carousing that takes place among the audience.
And she finishes the last bit and takes a deep breath and gives a courteous bow to her audience, and then gives...
Before you're able to finish, as the song is approaching its crescendo, Zorion's hand starts to ripple a little bit, And if anybody watching closely will notice that the fingers stop being fingers and it almost actually reverts to being just this weird shadow tentacle that slams his guitar and his strings noisily snap right at the crescendo. And you hear him begin cursing at the guitar as he kind of like has to fall out of this ending bit. So she has to kind of finish the last bit of the song on her own.
Saeed kind of gives him a look. She doesn't break pace. She is used to performing with others, but she looks at him like she knows something has gone wrong. And she puts a swell in her voice to make sure people are looking at her and not what's gone wrong. As she finishes the song, she will give a gracious nod to her audience, and she will check before giving credit to Zorion and sweeping her arm to him that he should also bow for his performance.
In contrast to Saeed sort of quietly checking in on Zorion, Roland slams a hand on the table, raises his glass, and he looks at Zorion and Saeed, all shining and charisma and joy at this energy. Restring your guitar, friend. More music. And he like says it loud enough so that the whole tavern will demand more music of them all.
Lex, I think I might need a path check. Upon being called out for having broken the strings of his guitar, Zorion has shown weakness in front of those he deems lesser. And because he is traveling on the road of kings as his path of enlightenment, that is a cardinal sin. Specifically, to show weakness in front of others is to break the rationale of a leader being strong at all times, which is a level 5 sin.
All right, why don't you give me a conviction check? What is your conviction, sir?
It is only a 2. Zorion actually has very strong self-control, and he has very strong courage, but his conviction is not the best.
Okay, because of the difference in scale between the level of the sin and your actual rating in your road, the difficulty of your roll is going to be difficulty 7.
That's a botch.
Oh.
Garrett, what should have been a moment that simply comes and goes for Zorion, one of many instances just like this, where the music was played, something went ever so slightly wrong, and you moved on. Seeing the room kind of chuckle and enjoy and in good spirit notice what you did to the strings of your guitar in your lapse of control over the hand you have forged for yourself. You are stricken with memories, indecision, choices made following cruel leadership. You're reminded of the immense harm you have caused through your life when you have shown weakness and failed to demonstrate the strength that you have dedicated yourself to carry. And amidst those cries for mercy that you hear from long, long ago, something erodes in your sense of self, and you begin to wonder whether or not you are the king you are meant to be. Because of your botch, you will be losing 2 points from the Road of Kings. And in this otherwise casual moment among companions, something in you withers.
Zorion, kind of flustered in that moment, takes the guitar, this masterwork piece of art, and casually hurls it with potence against the wall. And the instrument just shatters. And with unkingly fury, just looks over at Roland and says, "String it then."
Saeed's eyes go wide as she watches this. Some fear, but mostly shock.
The flickering nervousness of the candles, which was localized to Zorion now kind of spreads out, and that cold, uneasy wind changes the mood in the whole tavern.
The celebratory jovialness of the moment is gone in an instant on Roland's face, and he continues to just stare completely unblinking at Zorion with a measuring look. I meant not a demand from you, friend Zorion. It was my hope to continue to be blessed with your music, but if this, and he waves a hand toward like the dent mark in the wall and the shattered wood, is how you wish to play, then I am afraid I have been robbed of the chance. He like waves a hand towards Catrinel to ask the lady for a dance. If this is your wish, so be it. And he sits back in the chair, kind of looking around with his wrist sort of casually laying on the hilt of his dagger.
When you sit, the room has gone so quiet that you can hear the creak of your chair. Even the fire that is burning to keep the room warm grows silent.
Alexios was watching the whole thing, and more of a long-eyed look, like he's not directly looking at people. He's kind of just observing the whole room and watching the details as they unfold. He seems to just be tapping along on the table, definitely aware of what's happening and stuff like that, but not really overly reacting.
Catrinel has been enjoying the music up until the point of disaster. She seems to believe that Roland's efforts will go well, but as they don't, her focus narrows in on Zorion. She watches him almost entirely throughout this confrontation, taking in the little details. Except she does take notice of not quite the offer to dance, that passed-over offer that Roland had put forwards, but with that her attention flickers back, ready for things to get worse, assessing what's getting to you.
Sadhbh, for a moment, looks like a child watching her parents fight. That frightened, powerless look. And then her eyes go to the fragments of the guitar, and anyone watching can see the anger in her eyes return.
It's too bad. I am an excellent dancer.
When it seems that the moment should pass, and the people gathered who are enjoying wine and feast should return to casual conversation, they don't. And there is an eerie, lurking presence at the entranceway to this large chamber. And as the group of you look, you recognize a man who is wearing a cloak, pale skin and dark hair, a well-kept beard. You recognize Zorion's sire, watching from the doorway, quiet, and it would seem as though he may have been there the entire time. And quietly, he walks into the room. The mortals present seem nervous in the way that cattle are when they know there is a wolf among them. And you can hear the footfall of his boots. He draws near, and when he is standing beside where Zorion sits, he looks over his shoulder, and he says, "If you are no longer busy, I would have a word."
Zorion, like nothing has happened, just kind of flashes a smile to the rest of the group. "I will take my leave. I am sorry for ending our festivities so abruptly. I would very much like to have heard more of your song, Sadhbh." And without further word, just kind of stands up from the table and turns to leave with his sire.
"Apologies for my interruption," he says to the group, not meaning it in the slightest.
Catrinel gives him a nod that is simultaneously respectful back, but seems to echo that lack of intended meaning.
Your timing is impeccable.
And the two will make their exit downstairs towards Orion's room.
And what of it then? Will you stop playing?
Saïv kind of is quiet for a minute as she picks up the fragments of the guitar, the bigger pieces. Like she can't stand to see them still lying there.
As soon as you start trying to pick up pieces, Alexios will get up and start helping you pick up pieces.
Worse things than this have not stopped me from playing.
Take any step that you can to rekindle that flame in your eyes.
She kind of looks at Roland, and she kind of gives a nod. And she'll put the broken pieces on the table. As Alexios moves to help her, he may notice that, just given the style of clothes she wears, as she moves, he can see that her left knee is particularly knobby and is likely the source of her odd gait.
Alexios will definitely see that and just start picking up the really hard to reach pieces and stuff like that, and leaving like the bigger ones for you to get, and then follows your lead to where you're putting them because he's not sure what to do with a broken guitar.
She just places them on the table. She looks at it sadly and picks up her bowron, and she kind of pats the guitar pieces and just said, "Don't worry, you didn't do anything wrong."
I think we're all seeking to get to know each other. And that's just a casualty.
Music should never be the casualty.
Agreed. Lex, I look around. There were other musicians in here before, right? Like playing?
Absolutely.
Roland stands up and walks over to the musicians that had presumably stopped playing while these two started picking up, and just looks at them, probably not particularly subtly. Please, continue the rivalry in here, no? The whims and moods of one musician should not stop all from enjoying music.
The mortal gives a sheepish nod, and will begin to play a simple tune. Though it's a little forced at first. The people that are gathered begin to return to their celebratory enjoyment, and actually at the central table where Zorion's men are, it seems like they are kind of making a very strong effort to really not worry about Zorion and not pity him and not have any of the emotional responses that would indicate that this man needs them in any way. They will drink and kind of just tell stories about a crusader they knew.
Before she goes to play, Saïv will look at Alexios. Thank you.
No, anytime.
Roland walks back to the table.
Roland,
Oui?
was there something that you wanted to ask me?
My first question was going to be, in your homeland, do they dance?
They do.
Then would you allow me the pleasure of showing you how they dance in my homeland? And he reaches a hand down.
She reaches back out to you, and long, well-kept fingernails touch you before she puts her whole hand in and she says, "Yes."
And he gracefully helps to lift her to her feet and will sweep her into a quite practiced and rather impressive dance in the style of the courts of love of Paris.
How much are you trying to show off right now?
I'm trying to crazy show off. Are you kidding me?
Why don't you give me a dexterity performance roll?
I'm going to be a thorn in his side and point out I don't have any performance.
A good dancer, particularly the male lead, does not require his partner to have any points of dance.
I'm skating by on my 6th appearance here.
Your paltry 6
My
appearance.
paltry.
Unfortunately, I don't have any specs in dance yet, so I only have 3 successes.
3 successes looks great. You run the room, people clap, and have a wonderful time giving the two of you the floor.
Saïv will kind of guide the musicians to play a rhythm that makes him look better, to make up for any shortcomings of that might become apparent, but she really doesn't need to do much. He's pretty skilled in what he does.
Roland learned how to do this and how to command a room in the brutal courts of love in France at the hand of extremely razor-biting Toreador. It is gauche in the courts of love to use presence to make yourself the center of attention. So he does not. He just does it naturally.
Path of Night, War of Ages is an actual play Vampire the Masquerade Dark Ages podcast set in the world of darkness. Alexios is played by Tim Davis. Catrinel is played by Rebecca Steigelfest. Roland Roncevaux is played by Rob Muirhead. Sadhbh is played by Erika Webb. Zorion de Iruña is played by Garrett Gabbey. Your storyteller is Lex Lopez. The music used in this episode was Don't Look Back by DaniHaDani and Maya Belsitzman. Path of Night uses the 20th anniversary edition of Vampire the Masquerade Dark Ages with a few limited house rules. Vampire the Masquerade and the World of Darkness are owned by White Wolf and Paradox Interactive. Be sure to subscribe to us on Spotify, Apple Podcast, or wherever you find your podcast. You can find us on YouTube at youtube.com/@pathofnight. You can help support the show at ko-fi.com/pathofnight. Look for us on social media at Path of Night Podcast, or email us at pathofnightpodcast@gmail.com. See you next time, Cainites.
What's your dexterity at?
2.
It's good enough, I guess.
Well,
She stands and vogues while he gets
Well, I mean, even with the lead, like if the person doesn't know how to move, it becomes real problematic.
luckily, for purposes of this, my dexterity is a 6.
Yeah, yeah.
I really love how serious Tim is. Like, hey guys, look, man.
Our chronicles
This
are
works
very
a certain
famous for
way.
knowing that dancing is utterly serious.